What's up YouTube? It's AjilityPoints. I found this super cool method of boosting more skills, and I'm going to show you the method I use. This will increase your ranged, melee, magic, summoning, vitality, and even level up your pets all in one. If you're interested in leveling up all the other skills like gardening, crafting, and cooking at max speed while also making an insane amount of money doing it, go check out my other video with the link in the description below. So, ranged, melee magic, summoning, vitality, and even your pet have been getting some XP every now and then, but the ones getting most of the loving would obviously be the ones that you've been using the most. There's a reason to level up your other skills since they offer benefits to any build, regardless of what you're going with. But this can also open up the possibility of your build evolving into a solid hybrid build. One example would be the Grim set. This build is absurdly good for hybrid builds, but we'll talk more about that in a bit. Your first step to this process is to collect as many figurines from monsters as possible. You can get them simply by just playing the game and having them drop occasionally, or set up monster farms to really squeeze them out. It's a pretty rare drop, but don't be discouraged if you're having trouble finding them, or if you were like me at first and just sold them as soon as you got them. Start collecting these as you'll need a decent handful for this to work at its best. The next step will be to get these materializers. Let's see. Where'd I put those? Right here. So these materializers, you can get them, they can be found in the crystal biomes. These biomes start showing up more and more the further from the core you get, until you eventually see nothing but crystal. The goal here is to look for a specific layout. Let's see. Yeah, so this is the layout. This is a challenge arena. You're looking for this kind of layout, and you'll have to complete the challenge as well, which just has you stay in the center while fighting off waves of spawning enemies for a certain amount of time. Once you complete it, you're rewarded with a chest that has some goodies, such as the very rare jewels of the respective biome. So if you're in the jungle crystal area, you'll see jungle emeralds. Those are needed for like upgrading your gear past certain levels and stuff like that. But the real reason we're here is because once you complete the challenge, you're able to break the materializers off the floor and take them back to your base. Like this. Look at him breaking those materializers. Once back at your base, swap back over here. Once back at your base, these materializers can have figurines inserted into them, so they'll spawn that specific monster endlessly for you once it's set up to a power source. Here's my setup right here. I made sure to put a door that I always close in case of mishaps, but I wouldn't blame you for placing this a bit further from your base to avoid disaster. A couple things to take note of: just placing any figurine anywhere is probably unwise, as there's a lot of variables to consider. Monsters attacking other monsters, monsters that can break walls and ruin your whole setup, and monsters that can harm you. Ideally, having just a bunch of slime figurines is the safest method, but you may not have like 100 of those just laying around. So if you have to try different monsters, just be careful where you place them. My setup looks a bit complicated, which is why you definitely don't need to do it like mine. The most basic setup you can use is simply having a box with a fence to shoot over, like this one. Make sure I put a fence right here. So as long as you have a fence you can shoot over, you can flip the switch and easily shoot inside, have your summons shoot at it, or even attack them through the side of the wall. For me, I have some monsters who attack at range, but for the most part, they just target the slimes or they die fast enough that it doesn't become an issue. I also have very dangerous Mimites sitting like right next to me. If you don't know these guys, they'll charge at enemies and players once detected and deal a lot of damage, as well as breaking walls that can be as tough as crystals. Luckily, having a fence up means those little guys are fairly harmless even when attacked, so long as their path is closed. The reason I have spawners to my left and to my right like this is to level up my summoning XP very quickly using the Tome of the Deep summon. You can get this drop from the ocean biome from any of these spots. I also have that up. Any of these spots right here. You can get it from the locked octarine chest, beach digging spots, the large beach jelly, driftwood, all this stuff. Now, depending on what stat you want to boost, you can design your farm to be as suitable to that stat as possible. Melee, for example, you'd want like a cluster of enemies as close as to you as possible, and you just start swinging, or a straight line like this with like a spear, for example. You can just kind of get them a little bit right here. And you can see my pet's already gaining some XP. If you simply want range, you can equip the level 3 hunter set. This right here, the ranger hood. This is like, you can get this in the very first biome, or you can go farm the very first slime boss. This set's good because 3 set gives you targets, +1 targets pierced by projectiles, which means you're gonna be basically leveling your range twice as fast. So let's take a look at my setup. Let me go ahead and grab these back. Put these back in here. Got the slimes all together with other slimes, so I don't have to worry about them freaking out. They just kind of stand there. This is designed to level range, magic, and minions all at the same time. And that obviously includes vitality XP for each kill and your pet XP too. Our setup is going to be the Grim set, giving us 5 minions, and the minion rings giving us 2 additional minions. Our Ricochet Shuriken, which is going to level our range, and it's also going to feed us mana via mana channeling, which is a skill you can get in the magic tree right here. The Tome of the Deep to level our minion skill, and an arcane staff to level our magic. Next, we'll go over the skills that are going to make this process much easier. Having ranged at level 50 is nice, since it will make getting crits a lot easier. Once you start putting points into weakness detection and you have a relatively fast firing weapon, you're going to proc this fairly consistently, and that's just going to give you your 100% crit chance. Since you need crits in order to regain mana. Once your mana is at minimum level 30, so you can take advantage of mana channeling. Obviously, the higher the skill, the smoother this goes. But even with 1 point inside mana channeling, it can usually be more than enough. If you find yourself with a different setup, maybe you don't have the shuriken yet, or such and such, you can use weakness, if you don't have the shuriken yet, so weakness detection isn't proccing enough, then consider adding some crit gear, such as the Copper Cross necklace, which you can find pretty easily. I think I actually have it equipped. I don't. Where is it? Right there. You can find this pretty easily in the first biome as well, or you can even craft it at the very first workbench you're able to make. So we basically start by using our tome, which sucks out a ton of mana, right? So you can see, like, I can only really summon 2 before I have to wait to be able to summon another one. We start by summoning these, and then the next thing you want to do is the shuriken's secondary, this charging shot basically, and that sends the shuriken back and forth for a while. That racks up obviously your range XP, but it's also earning you crits along the way, which results in mana recovery, so that you'll be able to summon your minions much quicker and keep them, rotating as well. And we're basically going to be repeating that process for a bit. You're throwing your shuriken, gaining mana. After you summon your minions, you're throwing shuriken, throwing another shuriken, and then so on and so forth. So we can kind of put it into test here. make sure I'm repaired here too. So yeah, you can see the minions are basically shredding these guys. I know that sounds gonna get kind of annoying, so we'll just turn that down for a bit. But yeah, so we're summoning our minions. We ran out of mana. We're throwing our shurikens to gain mana back, right? And then we're summoning our minions, got our mana. And then once your minions are pretty much maxed, like you can see, we're at 6. So now we're at 7. I'll get another one out. Once your minions are at max, instead of swapping to your tome to keep summoning your minions, you can instead just start using your arcane staff, right? And I'm holding left click right now, just shooting. You can see that I was getting mana back. I'm getting mana off of crits, and I'm getting mana off of the shurikens that I'm throwing. If your mana isn't as stable as mine is right now, then, you know, like I said, same thing. You'd be throwing the shuriken just the same way as you were doing it for the tomes, right? So you're getting those crits, and then you're continuing to shoot your magic staff. But obviously I'm out of minions right now, so we just go back to the method. And if you do this consistently, then you pretty much always have your minions up, and you have a shuriken always being sent out, and you're always finding an opportunity to shoot your staff. So I have full minions, I'm shooting my staff. I can throw a shuriken or two if I want, because those are just keep going, and I'll start shooting my arcane staff. My minions are probably going to expire soon, so I throw another shuriken, start spawning my minions, get that cycle going again. Shuriken, you see what I'm saying? So you throw, summon, throw, summon, throw, summon, basically. And then whenever your minions are at max, you're holding your arcane staff. So, and I mean, you can see my pets gaining levels right now. My range is currently maxed out, but one thing I can do while kind of having this autoplay essentially is we can look at how much our summoning is going up. You can see the bar like just physically going up, and if we had even more enemies, then it would be going faster. But this is kind of what I have to work with due to the lack of figurines. So yeah, it's a pretty incredible method. It boosts the crap out of your stats, and it's pretty easy to set up. It's just getting the required material first. Oh, and also, if you wanted, you could even set it up so that you are, I guess on mouse and keyboard for me, I set the secondary use, which is like your use basically, to my N key. I guess on controller you can do a certain method too, but for me, if I wanted to AFK right now, I could just put some weight on my N key or this key right here. I can just kind of plant it in between my space bar and my N key so that it's held down, and then whenever I have enough mana, a minion's gonna be spawned. Obviously you'd want like extra tomes of the deep in your inventory so that your character will auto swap to them once they're out of durability, and maybe only set it up so that you're really worried about the enemies in this area, or set it up on that wall maybe and just kind of be next to the walls, so like something like that. You probably don't want to have to risk these enemies throwing stuff at you if you have a similar setup to mine. But yeah, I mean, you can basically just AFK for a bit and just level up your minions while this runs its course, right? So that's just an extra tip for you. Anyway, that's it. I hope you're able to make use of this method, or at least found this video interesting. If you did, liking the video is super appreciated, and also subscribe if you want to see more. Definitely comment down below if you managed to make the ultimate setup. Let us know how. All right, later.